Len Evan here with Icon Blueprint. If you're like me, your CRM is absolutely the backbone of your business. It tells you who to talk to, when to talk to them, what tasks you need to be doing, reminders, sends campaigns, does stuff for you behind the scenes, and there's plenty to choose from, right? I've been in real estate since 2003, and I have been focused on the CRM and the way to stay on top of my clients since very day one. I mean, I was originally with, had an Outlook system that we built it into a server so I could remotely access everything. I mean, we were geeking out way back then, right? And recently I've been with Brivity, KV Core, and now I want to give you my first impressions of Lofty. We studied a lot. We were doing a lot of research. I looked at high level. I looked at other programs. I looked at how we could take KV Core and use some of its plugins and take it to the next level. And so I'm going to share with you a little bit about why we chose Lofty. And then, of course, I'm going to show you some of the quick first impressions that we've had of the program. For me personally, some of the biggest things that I need my CRM to do is to be my brains, right? Like, I got a lot going on. I got kids, I got, stuff, soccer, blah, 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 life, right? Family things. I've got my business, I've got my team, I've got, investments, stuff like that. There's a lot going on in the life of a real estate agent, a dad, a mom, I mean, whatever is your position, whatever brought you here. And I need my CRM to basically tell me, hey, it's time for you to call John Smith. You haven't talked to John Smith in a little bit. It's time. I need the system to say, look, these are your marketing tasks. These are the things you need to be doing. I need my CRM to be sending out messages for me. I need these campaigns built. There's a lot of things I need it to do. And we've been using KV Core for the last couple of years. We had moved over from there, from Brivity. And what I found, the move from Brivity to KV Core was, while we lost some things, we gained a lot. For me, a lot of it is that connectivity to Zapier and being able to plug into all these other third-party programs and expand upon that and have the systems talk to each other. So that API type connection is really important to me through Zapier. I'm not an API programmer, so I look at, a lot of these companies have APIs, and so computer programmers, people who are like next level, they can grab onto that API and have it do what they want to do. I look at Zapier as kind of like the knows enough to be dangerous type API access, where you can say, look, in my mind, I'm going, this is what I need my system to do, so do it. And Zapier does a lot of that for you. Sometimes you run into issues with connections. A lot of people like API Nation. So we're going to go over a lot of those different things. But like I said, I want to go over some of my first impressions of the program. We're going to jump in here in a minute. I'll show you, I'm going to share my screen, show you a little bit about what we're using, how we're using it, what I'm setting up already. Some of the things that are driving me nuts already. Like, why did I move to Lofty? Like, this is, why are we doing this? How am I going to train the agents on my team to use the program? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? What we've seen so far. So we're going to dive into that here in a little bit. Stick around. You're not going to want to miss that as we switch over. Like I said, feel free to reach out with any questions you have, any suggestions. I'm an open book. I want to hear what's making it work for you, what's not making it work for you. If you have tech questions, I'm a digger. So if you have a question I don't know the answer to, I'd love to, hear what your problem is and then jump in and see if I can solve that. And then, explain it back to you in layman's terms to be able to help you go back for and set up your system the way that you want to have it set up. I'll be transparent here. We have the team edition, so I am with eXp Realty. Now, eXp Realty does offer us a kind of a discounted version of the Lofty program, Chime, what it used to be Chime. After doing the research on it, specifically for my team, we opted to just go directly to Lofty and set it up outside of the eXp discount. I'll share some of that and reason why we did that. Honestly, the biggest reason was that the pond piece for the pond leads was not something that was available inside of the eXp option as you started to add the team members. The cost structure was not advantageous. Now it could have been. So here, let me expand upon that. I could have set up the team version exactly the way I wanted to, for like, and I'm just going to make this number up because I can't remember. It's already been a week and a half. I've slept since then, as Tim on our team always says. I think it would have been like $150 for us to do the team version. And then each team member would have had to pay the $40 a month to upgrade to Lofty and then plug into our team. That model could work if I was talking about just like an organization. So if you're familiar with EXP, there's a difference between like your team and then your organization. Now I have a sales team, and so we are Loyalty Home Group at EXP Realty. And so that we're distributing leads, we've got systems, we've got, we're doing video, we're custom pages, things of that such. So I needed a specific build out. Now, if I had if I was talking about an organization and I'm saying, look, if you want to be if you want to succeed, I'm recommending Lofty. I would recommend people in my organization to go ahead and do the upgrade, and then they would pay the $40 a month. So there is a difference, but I did not want to hand over the cost of the upgrade to the agents on my team. To me, that's a team expense, right? That's why you join a team, is that you get access to the latest and greatest software, the latest and greatest CRMs, without the additional cost structure associated with purchasing the software. So I didn't want them to have to deal with that, right? So the team's got that. We're going to cover that for them. So that was one of the reasons. Just thinking about the logistics of it, the cost structure was not advantageous as well to at $40 a pop. Right now we've got 12 agents. It's like that starts to add up pretty quick. So we opted to just buy the CRM separate and go with it that way. So that was one of the things that we looked at. First impression on that was, they offered us at the base was to have like the team website, and then everybody has a subdomain, right? So we're Loyalty Home Group, so loyaltyhomegroup.com is our website. That one, if you visit today, in December of 2023, that still is pointing to our KV Core site. So we're still, like I said, we're just getting rolling on this thing. So I'm sharing my first impressions. That would have been fine, but then everybody would have had a subdomain, len.loyaltyhomegroup.com. That's how we're set up with KV Core. Now, KV Core, on the other hand, they allowed each agent to have their own custom site, even though it was a subdomain. So you could log on to my site and it's black and red. You can log on to somebody else's site on my team and it's green and purple. And that was their decision to do. With Lofty, the base setup was to have where every subdomain was literally just a mirror image. So if I added a page, it added a page to them. If I added a page here, it added a page to them. And really what it boils down to, when you're in the page maker on the web builder, which their web builder is phenomenal, I'll give them major props for that compared to KV Core. KV Core, you got to pop in HTML. Here you don't. It's all drag and drop, little widget type style stuff. It's way superior, in my opinion, from a web builder's perspective to make the website go. But then I can choose, like I said, I can say, let's get this on the main site. And then there's a little box that says push to the child sites, yes or no. And so there's certain pages that I would have said, yeah, let's do that. But then the problem is, then, say Jason on our team says, look, I'm running a farm in Queen Creek, Arizona here that I want to really highlight, and I really want to push that. How do I build that out? Not possible with the subdomains. So we upgraded them to agent sites, and so there was a cost associated with that, but I wanted, once again, the team to absorb that. So as we're adding the agents to the team, they're getting their own individual agent sites, fully customizable. I had recommended for him, I said, what are you trying to do? My job as a team leader, in my personal opinion, is to not go with the old school hierarchy, right? The old school team was, I'm the team leader, I take all the listings, you refer the listings to me, I refer the buyers to you, I'm here on top, and then you kind of get my leftovers, right? That's the traditional team. I'm looking for people, iron sharpens iron, right? Like, I'm looking for team members, I'm looking for business partners, I'm not looking for minions. And I don't, no offense to the people who run their team that way. my agents, I want them to take listings. I want them to take buyers. I want their cousin to call them and say, look, Joe, I've got to buy the house and I got to sell my house. And I want them to get both pieces of that business. And then we're going to be behind the scenes supporting them, marketing, all this other stuff, software. That to me is the way it should be. I was on a team. I ran a team where it was traditional, and this is where that was when I was like, I'm done, right? And had an agent on our team. A good friend of his, right? Really, really good friend of his, called him up, said, hey, D, we gotta sell a house and we want to buy a house. And so he's like, all right, I'll help you buy. Len's going to do the listing. And so he came to the listing appointment with me. I kind of explained everything, went over everything. And from their perspective, they're like, okay, cool. Len's been doing this for, X number of years more than him. So he wanted to make sure that we're taken care of. Now, there was a couple, there's always little hiccups during, the transaction. So there was a couple little hiccups during the transaction. And they would call him and he'd be like, yeah, you got to talk to Len. And so they call me one day and they're like, hey, can we meet? We're supposed to close in a week and a half. And she's just like, yeah, I don't know what to think about this. Like I hired my friend. Whenever I call him, he points me to you. I feel like he's brushing me off. And I'm like, I go, he's not brushing me off at all. It's how the system works. He takes care on the buy side. Like I don't know much about what's happening and I don't manage your purchase and he doesn't manage the listing side. And after that, I was just like, look, I'm not doing this way anymore. I'm like, he should be able to be the face on everything, right? And just get all that. So, even to the fact that I started my own team, invested in technology. I'm kind of squirreling off here, but I wanted to have it set up to where it's like, look, our sign, when I take a listing on our team, there's a sign with a phone number. That phone number is freaking Shark Tank, right? Like it goes out to all the agents on the team simultaneously. So if you see that phone number come through, you grab that phone as quick as you can and you hit 1 to accept the call. So it's not getting lost in people's voicemails. They have to answer, hit 1, boom, live call. This is Len with Loyalty Home Group. How may I help you? Beautiful setup. Now, when they take a listing, the sign is blank, no number. There's their name, Joe Smith. We don't have a Joe Smith, but that's just an example. Joe Smith, 555-1212, goes directly to them. The second that phone rings, we use Twilio. And so they answer the phone. Hello, this is Joe. This is Joe. Thank you for calling. This is Joe. And I have it set up to where it's a caller ID. So I tell them, I said, look, this is your phone number. Put that on your caller ID. And it goes through. Now, one of the things that we're going to be doing is because we had that set up with KV Core. And so I'm looking at not a big cost savings, right? But first impression of Lofty here is I'm going to be able to take that number that I'm paying, it's $1.04 a month just to host the phone number. And I'm going to be able to move that over to Lofty. So what I've been doing in KV Core is that phone number rings, it immediately hits Zapier. Zapier says, boom, new phone number, sends the lead into the system, clips it so that they get the idea, they can get the recording of the call so they can listen back on it. I always tell them, look, if you're driving, you don't grab the call, right? Don't be like, oh, I got to pull over. Just take the call, have them repeat their email address if they give you one, and it's going to be recorded and it'll immediately be in your CRM when we're all said and done. Now with Lofty, I'll be able to transfer and port over those phone numbers. And when you're talking about 12 agents, that's 12 phone numbers that I'm hosting. It's not big savings, but that's $12 a month, right? That I get to take off. You pay for minutes on Twilio as well. So if they're getting a lot of calls, some of our agents, they market the crap out of that phone number. And so they're getting all those calls and those minutes add up. And so I'm seeing recharges on my, Twilio account all the time. And so we're going to be able to move that over, which is great. So that's a big piece. So I'm not having to manage this piece. As an onboarding process for me, we have a new agent come on. I got to buy a new Twilio number. I got to set it up. I got to do all the programming behind the scenes, make sure it points, send it over to them. Hey, make sure you save this on your phone, sign call, whatever. But we'll be able to port those over and we'll be able to keep those phone numbers for them. And now the beautiful thing is they can make outbound calls with that phone number as well. So it's not just an inbound number anymore. It's a two-way conversation number. If somebody would text the number, it would just forward over a clip of the text. So that's a nice little upgrade for Lofty that we didn't have with KV Core. One of the things I saw as I was looking through the marketplace piece was that Lofty has a direct connection with Sly Broadcast. So I'm not a big Sly Broadcast fan from the perspective of, hey, we're going to be doing an open house, let's drop, voicemails into the neighborhood, like spammy type thing. But what I do like doing is having voice drops included in campaigns. And so inside of the campaign, the lead comes in, we use a system called Callingly. I will still continue to use Callingly. And so one of the things that I looked at with Lofty that we really like is our current system, right, is you go in, the ad goes out, it's Facebook, wherever it is, they fill out the form, the lead comes in, boom, I get a text message, new lead, here's the details of, how they filled out the form online, and then within a minute, it's already at Callingly, and then Callingly is calling the agents who are in lead rotation. I've got certain criteria set up to make sure agents stay inside a lead rotation. So it goes inside and it round robins inside of there. Which is cool though, is like if it rings me, for instance, and I'm busy and I don't answer, it then goes to the next person. And if they don't answer, then it goes to the next person. If they don't answer, it goes to the next person. If they don't answer, it just starts back over. And so I have it set up to cycle through, really right now with KV Core, I have it set up to cycle through like 10 times. And so you like Thanksgiving, we had like 5 leads come in on Thanksgiving. And so I think Jason on our team had counted, like his phone rang like 56 times or some crazy number because it was just like, because nobody was answering the calls. I'm like, nah, it's Thanksgiving, screw this. I'm not answering lead calls. So the phone was just ringing all day long. And so what we're going to be able to do with Lofty is I've already programmed, so this is where, once again, understanding Zapier comes in. I was able to set up Zapier. I've already got it built. I'm still waiting on my phone number, so that is a beef that I have. And I know it's not Lofty's fault. We're dealing with this 10DC, whatever they call that thing. I'm just going to check it here real quick while I'm talking to you guys. Yeah, 10 DLC compliance. So, we got to be compliant. So I'm still waiting for that to go through. But the idea is that the lead will come in, it'll hit Callingly, and it's going to have a couple different parameters, right? So if it's after hours, it's immediately going to go take the lead and lead route it into Lofty, and the campaign will kick off, and the AI will kick in if there's a response. And so, this is one of the things I had to explain to some of the agents on the team. We're like, well, so what do you mean we've got an AI chatbot? I said, well, one, it's going to chatbot you on like Facebook. So I've got, you connect it to your Facebook business page. And so when you're marketing online, market through your Facebook your Facebook business page. This kind of helps bring those back to life, right? Because most people have kind of let those die down. So we're going to market through there. That way when they hit Messenger, boom, the AI is automatically there. Most people are hitting that thing up at 2 a.m. You're not there. So, instant message kind of like, hey, we're not here, blah, 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 leave a message, or, hey, we'll get back to you, during business hours. But with this, the lead will come in, calling will hit. If it's after hours, it'll start the campaign, knowing that the AI is there to answer the any responses that we get. And so I don't want it to spend a lot of time. Now, what it also does is during business hours is it hits, this is once I can push it through, right? But this is how I've designed it and written it in Zapier, is it comes in, it'll hit Callingly, it'll do 2 rounds, and if 2 rounds don't roll through, then it's going to round robin the lead into Lofty, kick off the campaign. Because I don't want a day's worth of phone calls happening. Now that shouldn't really happen as we get more people on the team into the software and get them rolling with it. With 12 agents answering calls, there's no reason why everybody would miss that call. But you never know. It could be 4 o'clock on a Sunday, or something, and everybody's busy, which could happen. And I don't want the lead. There's this concept, this idea, no lead left behind, right? Speed the lead, no lead left behind. You've got to approach every lead immediately. They're on your site. They're actively looking. They're doing stuff. So we want to take that and run with it. So Lofty's giving us that leverage piece, where with KB Core, I just had to keep it ringing through, and I didn't want to send it over to the CRM to kick off the campaign, because what if they respond? It's Thanksgiving. I'm knee deep in turkey and gravy and football, and I'm now having to text the lead, because I've sent out, the way the campaigns work. Think about it from a campaign perspective. Campaign comes in, hey, thanks so much for checking out blah. Here's a link to the information. Did you have any questions, or whatever your kickoff campaign is? And then they respond back and like, oh yeah, that's awesome. You're working on Thanksgiving. We'd like to see this house tomorrow. And now what are you supposed to do? You're like, crap. Because you've probably got a smartwatch. You see it come in. You're sitting there at dinner, and you're like, shoot. I gotta sneak off, and what are you doing while you're working? That type of thing. Nobody needs that. So Lofty is going to be able to kick in with the AI and take over that conversation and schedule an appointment. And maybe that buys me some time to hey, I'm going to go whatever, clean up, check something in the car, walk the dogs, whatever you're going to do, and kind of release yourself from the family function just for a few minutes, and kind of jump in and look and see and go, okay, cool. And so yeah, I'll get that scheduled. I'll reach, and then now you can come in, hit mute, and just say, hey, I'm gonna jump in and say, yeah, we'll get that scheduled for you. So I thought that was pretty cool. What else? Yeah, let's do this. Let's jump in. I'm gonna switch over to the computer screen, and I'll show you a little bit about just some of the other stuff that I've noticed and I've liked. And like I said, so far my biggest complaint is really just the time it takes to get your phone number set up. But I understand that that's, that there's a lot of legal loopholes on that stuff, and these CRMs don't want to necessarily be on the hook. So this puts the agent on the hook for compliance, honesty, campaign safety, whatever you want to call it. So I can't hate on them for doing that, because I looked at High Level. High Level has the same setup. I don't know if Brivity's now doing that. I'm sure they are. I'm sure a lot of these CRMs are now kind of saying, look, this phone number's got to be compliant. And, I had to tie it to my PLLC. So I'm tying it to my, my legal business. And so it also takes it and says, what do I want to send out here? Because there's accountability. And so I think it does in some way help reduce spam a little bit, because I'm going to be a little bit more cognizant about who I'm putting in here, and calling and doing, that type of stuff as well. So let's jump in here. I'll show you some stuff, and, like I said, comment below. We're gonna have a lot of these types of videos. I'm gonna go over Zapier. We'll go over all different things. So make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that subscription bell to get more up-to-date information as I go over these different tech type stuff, and go over ways to build your business and leverage technology so that you can hit icon level production. That's really the purpose of this channel. So make sure you do those things, and reach out, hit your questions. Consider this like a free coaching channel where you can get a lot of your questions answered. Like I said, I've been an agent since 2003, so I've seen a few things, and I've hit icon level in my company, which it seems like an easy task at first, but it's first time you go for it, you're like, holy cow, it's a lot of sales. So you gotta hit a certain level of sales to hit icon. But we'll go over the blueprint, and you'll be like, look, that's all I got to do. And, at the end of the day, it's almost impossible to hit icon and make less than $250,000. You could do it. Obviously it's possible, but, with the way prices are right now, the average sales price, you're going to be probably minimum $200,000 income by hitting icon. And that's my goal for everybody who subscribes to this channel. Is like, look, go for it, dude. Let's hit, ladies too, everybody. Let's hit 200,000 or more. I mean, it's not, and I think most people have this misconception when you say I'm going to make 200,000 as a real estate agent. Well, that's not net income, right? Like there's expenses attached to that. You know, leads, software, all this stuff. You know, none of this stuff is getting any cheaper. So you've got to be able to afford it. And in order to be able to afford to stay in real estate, you have to have a goal, in my opinion, of 150 or more just to be able to stay in it. Especially if you're the one who's kind of driving the technology and the lead gen and exploring different options and different lead sources and things like that. So yeah, let's jump in. I'm going to do a walkthrough real quick, and then we'll be here for the next one. All right, so we're on the dashboard here of Lofty, and you can see I'm still going through kind of my onboarding process. You know, I've set up my brand. I've done, you know, the compliance request, email integration, social media. They're still asking me to do a lead import. You know, honestly, between, you know, you, me, and anybody who catches this, I'm not ready to do that until I can activate my campaigns. You know, my campaigns are, I don't want to say they're heavy on text, but they're definitely, it's an integral part of the campaign. So without being able to send out the text messages, I'm not ready to import any leads. I'm not really sure about the Zillow integration. I'm kind of an anti-Zillow guy, so I don't know how I feel about integrating, but you know, I'll make my decision later. I've set up some of my lead capture rules. I like these automation pieces. I'm still working on the transaction checklist. This was one thing that when we moved from Brivity over to KB Core, I really missed. Brivity has a great transaction task management system. So as you took a listing, you could launch a campaign or, you know, a transaction campaign, got it under contract, new one, you know, buyer campaign, you know, all that stuff. So it would walk you through the different steps of the transaction, and it was absolutely phenomenal to keep you on track. I've kind of hacked and built off like some forms and tied them into KV Core inside of some of our campaigns, but you know, they're clunky at best. I mean, they're very functional. They send reports. That was one thing I was able to do, is build some reporting out, and so it copies my, you know, our clients on what we're doing on those steps. But still, it's not the ideal. So I'm looking forward to playing with that. I've set up the AI assistant, and we've played with it a little bit. And apparently I haven't set up my, I just haven't done my strategy to accomplish goals. So this is what the dashboard is going to look like once I've got all that done. So as I log in, I'll always see this. I'd like this piece where, yeah, I've got my Google local services ads already set up. Thank you. I did that separate. That's another topic we'll run on in a different video. You know, how many new leads today, opportunities, tasks. I'm real big on tasks, right? So I need a dashboard that says, here's what you need to do today, and this is where that'll go, right? So it says I got none today, none upcoming, 2 overdue. And like I said, I've only been playing with leads in here, but I can go in here, and now I can see like my calendar, I can hit my tasks, and I can go through, and you can see I'm just playing with the system here, and I've got myself in here. I like this idea of a pipeline. I'm going to add a few different ones in here. You know, I like a 30, 60, 90 day, right? And then 90 plus type of snapshot. At one point I was using Contactually. I'm sure some of you maybe remember that one. Contactually allowed you to do pipelines as well. And what I did as my pipeline was I just had it set up as January through December. And so my pipeline was literally just who's doing what when. And that's all I did, every lead. And if they were, you know, saying, yeah, I'm, you know, like today's December, right? So yeah, I'm ready to go in January. And so I just load them up in like January. And so I could instantly click on pipeline, and I could see I've got 12 people who said January. And so it was a great spot to instantly go and hit my pipeline and just say, you know, the beginning of the month, boom, hit December. Who said they were going to do something in December? And then I could move them over appropriately, right? And then I would go, all right, who said they're going to do something in January? And so if you think about it, like I think I have like 40 some thousand leads inside of, if not more, inside of KV Core. Well, who has time to go through 40,000 leads to see who's ready to do something? And so the pipeline tool is a good way to do that, where you can just say, okay, well, where are you at? And then I could just click on it and go, okay, so every week, every Monday, boom, go through it again. Every Monday, go through it again. Every Monday, go through it again. And they either stayed in the month and did something that month, or they move forward. And, I look at it as what I call a parachute. I need a system to catch what I miss. And so that's that. I like that piece of this. I was in here. This is something I thought was pretty cool, and I'm not going to dial it, but this one was pretty cool, right? So you can run your filters. You can choose who you want to do. As a as a team leader, I can put in my filters here, but I can just click all here, and I can just send it right to the dialer. And so boom, send a dialer, and make some calls on that. And so that I think is a pretty cool setup. We're paying for, it's included in our package to have the dialer on there. So that was another benefit, is that wasn't an additional add-on. We bought the package that allowed us to have that in there. The marketplace is pretty cool. So there's all these different things you can plug into. One thing I guess I would say is a negative, is all of these different lead generation ads, and it depends on who you talk to, right? But the minimum ad spend is $600 a month on these. Now, I've done well at certain points of the year at like 300 to 400. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I really, I wish we could go just a little bit lower, and sometimes I encourage agents on the team, like, hey, do some personal ad spend. So then it's not going to be as easy for everybody to jump in here and do that type of an ad spend. They do have an option where, all these different little plugins, there's the AI. So we've got all this stuff in here, right? So it's already included. So I don't have to, buy all that stuff, which is great. And then, some of these third-party services, they just connect right in. API Nation, Zapier, those are kind of the two big ones. You can just connect your Mojo account if you'd like. Mailbox Power. There's the Slide Broadcast, Cloud CMA. So it's got a lot of, instant kind of connections. So you're not having to log into 50 different places, and they can just kind of talk to each other. Your connectivity, we use Outlook, or sorry, not Outlook, but Gmail is our thing. So I've got the Google thing set up, but I like that you have these different options to kind of, plug all these different things in together if you want to use, Microsoft's got a great setup for, building an organization, as does Google. So you can kind of choose between the two. Calendly, great free calendar. So I still have to connect that. I've already connected my Gmail. So all these things, SkySlope, we're already connected inside of here. Great stuff. Now, this is where I want to I'll focus on this, and then I'm going to kind of end this. This is where you do your lead generation, right? So you do have some options in here for listing promotion. This is a little bit less expensive to promote a listing. So you can go, I don't know why it's not pulling my listings in here, but you can go in here and for $100, you can start at $100 and you can promote your listing. So if you're looking for like KV Core, they would call it, you could boost the listing, listing promotion, whatever. And so you can do the same thing here, right? So boom, click, $100, get some leads. If you got a new listing, go promote that bad boy. The other thing I really liked, and I'll show you this real quick because it was really freaking slick, was this, where is it? Brand awareness ads, right? And so this is another, it's kind of like an AdWorks type thing. Oh, here it is. Social Studio is cool. So the Social Studio, it'll post your listings for you on a calendar automatically. So as you take new listings, it'll showcase it. As you get it under contract, it'll showcase it. As you sell it, it'll post it to all your social sites. It'll put it to, if you go to your settings, where's my rules? So all these different profiles, right? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, I haven't figured out the YouTube piece yet. LinkedIn and Google My Business. So it's going to post to these things for you on the fly automatically, which is great. The other thing that one of my teammates discovered yesterday inside of here was this, where is it? Oh, here it is. So if you hit your dashboard, it's kind of back to that dashboard. If you hit this little bad boy right here on the bottom right, it's an AI little creator for you. So you hit sweep and then we can clear. And so you can see it's kind of going to town, right? So what do you want to do? Feature a listing, open house event, neighborhood farming, or post some local news. So let's feature a listing. And so it's going to, it's asking me some questions and it's like, which ones do you want to pull? And so let's just say we want to pull this one here. So confirm this listing. And it's giving me, it's working up the materials right now. I'm not doing any of this, right? It's all behind the scenes. And what's neat about it is, there we go. It's got the stuff, and you see it. It's going to give me a link, and here I can go, right? So I can do a social post on it. I can write a blog on it. I can send it as an email. I can send it as a text. And so if I send as a text, it's basically just going to say, who do I want to send this to? Obviously right now I can't send anything because I don't have the compliance, but I can do this as a social post, and it automatically pulled in too much for some of these characters. So maybe what I'll do is I'm just going to strip all this piece out. Quick little title, there's the link, post now, and it's going to go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff immediately. Done. So just like that, I've promoted one of my listings. You can have it write blogs for you. So if we go back to that dashboard, I can sit here and go, all right, well, let's clear this. Here we go. What do you want to do? And let's do some local news. And so it's like, what do you want to talk about? All right, well, let's talk about Phoenix. Great. Checking. What? Okay, let's try that again. I did one yesterday in Gilbert. It pulled that fine. Let's see what else it gives me as options. Let's say Mesa. We'll go Mesa. Let's try Gilbert. Yeah, okay, so I don't know why Mesa didn't pull, but that pulled. So we're going to say yes, and then it's going to write it up for you. So these are these little things. I mean, obviously the AI is, this marketing assistant is still in beta. So, I'll reach out to my rep and just say, hey, I had some issues with this. But like it says here, I put together a blog for you showcasing local market news. Feel free to take a look at it here. Click here. And what you'll see is it's a full blog post. So this is the preview of it. This is all the information. And it's got, graphs, median sales price, list to sale ratio, properties sold. And so it's giving you really good data that you can put out regarding your local market. So, I've got access to, let's see, let's try this one. Because I'm licensed in Illinois as well. So let's see if I can't get anything on, tell me another city. All right, so now it's allowing me to set it. So let's go Arlington Heights. Let's see if it gives me anything on here. Boom, there it is. So this is really slick. I like this. Put together blog, click here. And just like that, I mean, I live here in Arizona, and it would probably take me a while to pull up some data enough to pull up a blog and write a report on it. And look at that. Got some graphs, list price, sales price. So the list price is kind of doing this, sales price is doing that. That's all seasonal. Looks normal. I can do a video on that. List to sale price ratio seems right there, right around that percentage. So that's pretty good. Seems steady. Property sold, how many listed, how many sold. Look at that. Listed, sold. This is the issue, right? So we're still seeing inventory issues where you see more sold than listed. Illinois' market's doing pretty well. Median days on market, I mean, it's sitting right around, man, it's super, super low, right? So it shows you really quick that you've got a really good market. So I like that piece. That's a nice piece. All these different little marketing tools that we can play with. You've got reporting. So the reporting is phenomenal. Looking through this, I can see contact ratios, who's doing what. You've got inside of here, you can do performance stuff, transactions you can see. So I've only pulled in a couple things. I'm just loading them in, but it can show me as the team leader, what's my breakdown, right? How much volume, what was the total GCI, and then what did we take, as a team, and then how much did the agents make? And so I can see that based off of all these different things. So obviously, like I said, I've only loaded in a couple things. I'm just getting rolling on this, but there's so much that you can do. The website builder is really super simple. So if I go into my editor, I'll show you this real quick. You go into here and you got blocks, pages, and style, right? So this is kind of what I've set up to be my home page. And if I go to maybe a page under here, I can go to this buy page. I haven't really even looked at this too much, but I'll show you. Like these are all blocks. So if I want to add, look, all this is doing is just giving me, it's a search page, all listings. Well, what if I want to add something to it? Like there's no contact page. All right, well, let's add something. So let's go in here, and now I've got all these different blocks that I can add in here. I can put in some banners. Maybe I put some blog posts underneath here related to whatever. I can put a mortgage calculator right underneath here. And you just drag it right in here, and there it is. Just like that, it's done. And it looks slick, it looks nice. I'm gonna delete that, I don't want to mess with the page. But you can see it's really drag and drop. Here's some call to action stuff. I mean, you can make this look like a really nice custom site very, very quick. You can drop in video. This one's important in my opinion. So if you go to your video stuff, you can put in a video, and all you have to do to edit that bad boy is, you can change your text, and then you just put in the URL of your YouTube video. I like the autoplay function. I haven't played with this because it says video preview image. If I turn the autoplay off, I don't know if it'll automatically give me the thumbnail of the video or not, so I'm going to play with that next. Like I said, I'm just kind of getting started here, but if I do autoplay, then the thumbnail doesn't matter, and I get a hit count for that video, so that's a good thing. So that's just our kind of quick walkthrough and things we like, what we don't like on the system. All right, so thanks for kind of hanging out and listening to me chat for a little bit. This is our quick walkthrough, first impressions of the Lofty program. All in all, in a nutshell, right now I'm pretty impressed with the system. It does a lot of cool things that we were really looking for. I'll be completely transparent. The AI piece was our main search, right? So I was looking at KV Core and saying, how do we add some of these pieces? And I just was not able to find a direct plugin for a chat communication piece, something that could take over our text messages for us. That was just all inside of one system. And doing my research, Lofty came back up across my board because I had looked at it a year ago when KV Core, when EXP had aligned themselves a little bit with the Chime program at the time. Like I said, I was looking at high level and building that out. I actually spent about 2 or 3 days training the high level AI to ask questions and answer questions. I was going through that process, and it was really cumbersome, and it didn't. I kept running into this idea, like, how I still need KV Core, right? Because high level is just a CRM. It doesn't have a website backend. So I was like, all right, now I'm going to have everybody have their stuff in 2 different CRMs. And, you know, they'll still have their stuff in KV Core because it's included with our, you know, EXP fees, but they'll use or Lofty primarily, so they can kind of just push KV Core off to the side, but they're not going to have to be bouncing between two CRMs because there's nothing good about that. So, in my opinion, at least for your day-to-day type stuff, and Lofty became the answer for us. So, thanks again for watching. Reach out if you have any questions. Love to get your opinions on, like I said, anything I covered, anything I missed. Definitely hit me up. Let me know what I'm missing. Like, what haven't I seen yet? Like, whatever you're like, dude, like you haven't like you've got to, it's got this, you have to jump on that. I want to see that. And you know, I'll as I dive in and continue to dig into this program, I'll share what I find as well. Thanks again.